Hello, hello, internet world. This is Norma Joe. This fucking phone. Yes, I'm using my fucking phone this time, even though I low-key don't like using my phone because I prefer the grain that doesn't show so much of my real self. But anyways, yeah, so, as you can probably tell by my little fucking show, my little fucking performance here. Look, I got milk, but I can't drink it yet because it's too fucking hot. But, I don't have any wine or any hard drugs or anything like that. So, and I'm in the bathroom and there's like a small open window up there, like this. And I hope nobody's out there that can hear me. But if they do, fuck it. Whatever. Anyway, this tub is so uncomfortable. God, I'm not doing ContraPoints justice here. ContraPoints does the real deal. She has real water and all that shit in her tub. I don't have shit. I have a look at what I got. Okay, I'm gonna do full disclosure, behind the scenes shit. Look at what I got down here. A fucking towel, because even though this tub hasn't been used since 7 in the morning, there's still some like water in it. Look at my cat. So I put the towel down so I wouldn't get wet until I take a shower for real. Look at his fucking giant tail. Anyways, what am I, almost 2 minutes in and I haven't even started. Oh my god, my phone's falling. What a disaster. No, what a disaster. Okay, anyways, I wanted to make my video on From Hell because honestly, it's like, if not now, then when? You know what I mean? Oh god, it's so uncomfortable. I'm trying to do the fucking thing, but it's not meant to be. This stuff is just not good. Okay. I'm just gonna lay and pretend like I'm comfortable. Anyway, anyways, if not now, when? Okay, when? When am I really gonna have a chance to do this again? And like, whatever. So anyways, while I'm waiting for my milk to cool down, let me see, what can I say about this movie? So basically, it's funny because it's like, I wanted to see this movie just because it's like, I wanted to see, the absence trips, and I didn't even know there was laudanum in it and all these drugs, and there was a whole bunch of other shit in this movie I didn't even know about, but I was like, I just want to see Jack the Ripper, I just want to see, some people get high and drunk, that's pretty much all I wanted. But the movie exceeded my expectations. I thought it was one of those movies, similar to when I saw, Escape from New York. I thought Escape from New York was gonna suck. I just wanted to see it just because. Like, I was like, oh, this is probably gonna be a fun movie, but it's, like, shitty at the same time. Like, it will irritate the shit out of me. And I'll probably watch it one time and never again. But I just want to see it just because. But actually, it turned out now it's one of my favorite movies. So it way exceeded me. And so did this movie. I wouldn't say this movie is one of my favorites of all time, but it definitely took me back to that, like, middle school feel. Like, I think this movie is from 2001 or something, and it feels like it. Like, I thought it was gonna be a straight up horror movie, like serious, hardcore, down, gritty, and shit like that. It had grit in its own way, okay? But it was just very, like, it was very cartoonish in some other ways. What are you doing, Quincy? Talk about a fucking devil. Quincy, stop it or you're gonna get a lobotomy. Anyway, where was I? And he stopped after no, he started again. Quincy! He's a threat to society, I'm telling you. Anyways, what was I talking about? Right, so okay, let me just run through this movie real quick. So basically our main character is this guy, the guy that Johnny Depp plays. His name in the movie is, like, Adeline, I think, or something like that. It's his last name, but, like, his real first name is, like, Fred or Frank, I think, but only one guy calls him by his first name, like, once. So everybody calls him Adeline through the whole movie. I like that name because that's a pretty ass name. I can't remember if it's Adeline or Adeline or Adeline, something like that. Anyways, whatever. Or Adelaide, something along those lines. Anyways, so he hangs out in like the opium houses, and like it's just, this movie is like really good on style, man. Like when they show the opium house, it's all like everything. It's like, I feel like this whole movie is kind of just like a 2 hour long like music video. Like it's got like all this like, it's like got fast motion where you want it, it's got slow motion where you want it. When they're in the opium house, it's like this kind of slow pan. You just see all these dudes in their boring ass Victorian suits smoking up and getting high and shit. And then there's like these naked chicks on the table. One of them is like face down, one of them faced up, and the guys are just touching them like oh wow, this body, and stuff like that. And the colors are dope. I like how when they show in the beginning, they show London and how fucking, like, at nighttime and the sky's like all red, it's like, it's very dramatic, it's definitely like kind of like a goth club or something like that. And just showing all the pollution and shit like that. Anyways, it starts off with 5 or 6 girls. They're all hookers, they're all basically homeless and shit. And they're like, yeah, showing how much London sucks, all the tenement buildings, everyone fighting and shit like that, and just arguing and shit. And then, yeah, everyone's down on the street, just doing their thing, being dirty and shit. And, I don't know, the girls are just walking around. Basically, the gist is that, like, I can't remember, I saw this movie like a week ago, so I can't really remember it, like, pace for pace. But basically, the gist is that there's some fucking, like, pimps or some shit, or some, like, I don't know, they're like a gang or something. They are like, these streets are ours, and then they're like harassing the whores all the time. And what's funny is that in the beginning, this one girl's trying to like pick up a John, but then this dude is like, oh, how much for something? And then she's just like, fuck off. I'm like, girl, that's your customer. Why are you telling him to fuck off? But whatever. It's all part of the atmosphere and the attitude. Like, the movie is just so teenage. That's what I thought was so funny. The movie is so teenagery. Like, I thought it was gonna be like a really like serious adult movie. Fuck that. It's like a teenager movie. It's just like, it's funny. It's like, people aren't as assholey in the movie as they would be in TV now. Like, some of these fucking cop shows, they're always getting, I constantly talk shit about the cop shows, but they're just like getting in people's faces all the time, and escalating drama and shit like that, and always having to assert their authority on people. They love doing that shit. What? Did you hear that demon noise? He was like, wah, wah, wah. And why? He's not locked in my room or anything. He has full run of the house. He's just being a fucking dick. Quincy! Anyway, whatever. So, anyways, these fucking gangsters or pimps or whatever they are, they're like harassing the hookers. They're like, oh, you gotta give us like £1 every week. And I don't know the exchange rate, but it's too much for them. It's like, when you're trying to make rent these days, rent is like $1,000 a month or some shit. It's like, how am I supposed to get $1,000 a month? That's fucking ridiculous. But anyways, I thought he was gonna like cut their noses, because I remember hearing something in like some History Channel show or some shit about like hookers getting their nose, like their nostrils cut open or some shit. But he didn't do that. He was just threatening them. He did the shit with the knife that I was talking about in the zombie story, where he like cut the buttons off her shirt. Then he said he was gonna like stick the knife up her pussy and shit like that. All the regular stupid shit. And then, where was I? This is all just basically like the beginning setup and shit like that. Oh, okay, so the important part. So then their friend comes over. They had this other friend, I guess she's like an ex-hooker or something like that. And they're all like, oh, you got a rich boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And we all know, like, this is the thing, is that, like, I already, like, the whole, like, I feel like this movie was kind of, like, based on some, like, I don't know, some stuff I've seen on, like, the History Channel and stuff like that. It's, like, it's not a movie that makes everything up itself. It's, like, which is kind of hard. I mean, how are you gonna make everything up yourself when you're talking about Jack the Ripper? Because there's so many, like, theories out there anyway, that I feel like you'd be hard pressed to come up with something that hasn't been come up with already. But they go with the whole, like, you know, just in case you haven't heard it before, the whole idea of, like, that Jack the Ripper was working for the prince because the prince was sleeping around with these hookers, and, like, he didn't want anyone to know. And in the movie, they make it that, like, oh, he had a baby by this girl, and he didn't want them to know, because it's kind of like the Da Vinci Code or some shit. It's like, oh, the baby is the real heir of the throne or some shit, and they're like, no, he's a child of a whore, and blah, blah, blah. And then, anyways, so, and then also he got syphilis from the hookers, apparently, and, he was pissed. Anyways, whatever. So they go with that whole story, where it's, like, you know, connected to royalty and all that shit. And then, so anyways, they're talking to their friend, and they're like, oh, you got a rich boyfriend, and blah, 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 and then she comes up with her baby. She's like, look at my baby, look at what I got, and everything like that. And then they're like, we want to hold it, we want to hold it. And she's like, okay, here, hold the baby. And they're like, oh, you know, like, these fucking motherfuckers are, like, harassing us. They want to do the whole Chinatown thing. They want to cut our noses and shit like that, fuck us up. Cause you know, we're homeless and shit. Like, how we're getting like 2 pennies per, like, fuck. Like, how are we supposed to give them £1 a week? You know, that ain't even fair. And so she's like, oh, don't worry, my rich boyfriend will pay. So she goes over, and then this is the funniest I fucking laughed out loud, because she, like, the way the movie, you just have to see it. This movie is so good on the visuals. Like, the visual component is just, like, top notch. Because, like I said, the whole thing's kind of like a music video. Like, it's all just very flary. It kind of reminds me in a way of Moulin Rouge. How Moulin Rouge is so stylized and everything. Like, it's like a non-musical version of Moulin Rouge, kind of. And, anyways, then all you see is, like, her bare back, right? Like, and it's kind of from, like, a down angle, and she just, like, she throws her hair back, like a fucking shampoo commercial, and it hits her back. And, like, I just fucking laughed and laughed. But anyway, she's fucking the prince or whatever. And, his name, he had, like, 2 names. He was going by Albert, but he wasn't Prince Albert. He was, his name was actually Edward, I think, or some shit like that. I don't remember. But anyways, so they were all happy, and then so you see some people, and they're like, oh, we got some business to attend to. They're like these mafia type people, right? And then, so they come bust in her room, like, all Gestapo style. They, like, pull her off when they're mid-fuck. They, like, pull her off, wrap her up in a blanket, kind of like what happened to Daryl, because they're like, we can't show nudity. And actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if there's any bare breasts. I'm trying to think, is there any bare boobs in this movie? I'm not sure there is, which is really funny, because they show so much gore. You know, obviously you have to. Like, you can't have a Jack the Ripper movie that's not gory. But, like, look at him. He's, like, inside my sweater. Look at this. Did you see that? That black thing? That was him. He loves to go inside clothes. Anyway. Oh, do you hear him purr? Oh. I don't know if you can hear that, but to me it's really loud. So, where was I? Anyways, they pull them both off. They throw them in a motherfucking carriage, and everyone on the street doesn't even care, you know. Basically what happened in any big city, because I've seen some fucked up shit in San Francisco that people will just literally, like, just keep walking, you know. I mean, what are you gonna do? But, but, where was I? Oh yeah, so, and they throw over, like, the baby cradle. I thought the baby was in there for a second, and I thought they were, like, killing the baby. But actually, the hookers had the baby. So they were like, we're gonna take this baby to the girl's parents. And then, I'm trying to remember what happened with Adeline, because he's, like, not in it at first. He's just getting high and shit like that. Oh, I remember, they come get him at the opium house, and he's just laying around, and then, and they're like, oh, you need to, oh, I remember, because one of the hookers who was like this chubby, this is like what people say, like, oh, the chubby girl gets killed first. Like, there's like, you know, there's a few people that will always get killed in a slasher movie, but I feel like the chubby girls, a lot of the time, they get kicked out of the picture. Like, I know in Cuties, there was that one chubby girl. She just kind of was in the beginning, and then she just kind of disappeared. So anyways, yeah, she gets abducted when she's walking on the street. She gets pulled into an alley, and then it's really cool. You just see like this knife going up and down in the dark, but it's like the blood is like really bright, even though it's like really dark at the same. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? You just kind of have to see it, and then but it looks cool. It looks great. It's red. It's black. It's shiny. What more do you want than that? You know, like that basically covers all the bases. So anyways, then they're saying that like, oh, I almost forgot to say something. So when Adeline gets high, he sees like visions of like people being murdered and shit like that. So everyone who gets killed in the movie, he sees, well, not everyone, but he sees like their deaths and shit. And anyways, they take this girl to like the morgue or whatever, and they go in there, and I guess the idea is they wind up saying like, oh, that wasn't Jack the Ripper, I guess. That part was kind of confusing to me, but I think they basically said like that wasn't Jack the Ripper. And then at the same time, there's like this young surgeon I guess guy, and it's confusing because he looks exactly like the fucking prince, but like he's not, and he is the lobotomist. So this is another thing that's just so funny, and I'm so happy I watched this shit by myself, because if I watched this with my mom or something, she'd be just goading me. She'd be like, oh, does this bother you? Does this bother you? Yeah, it would have bothered me when I was like 18. It would have fucked me up. I would have been mad as hell. But look, as I'm 30, 31, I'm just like, you know what, I've seen this bullshit in movies before, okay? And it's just funny to me because this is the one I'm talking about, the stylized thing. Like, it would have bothered me if they had a more serious movie and they're seriously trying to see these, like, Victorian... Oh, this is another thing I wanted to say before I get into this whole shit. Okay, you know what's so fucking funny to me? Is that I remember back in 2001, basically from 2001, or from 2000, just say, all the way to 2000, like, 4 or 5, like, wasn't there, like, a big-ass, like, Victorian resurgence, kind of? Like, they started making, like, that was when they came out with, you know, there was this movie, there was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is my 3rd favorite movie of all time, there was the Underworld movies, there was just all this Victorian things going on. I'm probably forgetting, like, and then, you know, there was, like, kind of a fashion with the early emo community before emo became all about, like, skinny jeans and, you know, hair gel and shit like that, faux hawks and everything. There's been so many different kinds of emo. Anyways, where was I? I want to see if this milk is ready to drink. This is just, like, incoherent rambling, but fuck it, I don't care. And I feel like this review is gonna be more than 20 minutes, but after that fucking scary childhood media video I made, it was almost damn near a fucking hour. I feel like I can do anything. I can do anything. Anyways. This shit is good. Anyways, okay. I would have been more pissed off, and it would have been harder to take if they were actually being really serious and trying to really honestly give these Victorians their fair due and try to